A girl looks at you, just looks at you. And somehow, in the span of about 2 seconds, a grown man manages to forget how to walk, blink, and exist as a functional human being, all at the same time. His confidence took the day off. His cool left the building. What's left is a guy staring at the floor pretending he saw something interesting down there. This happens more than men want to admit. A single glance from a woman can short-circuit years of self-work, gym discipline, and I don't care energy faster than anything else on the planet. And the brutal part? She was probably just curious, maybe even interested. But by the time his brain rebooted, the moment was already gone. Eye contact is one of the most loaded social signals that exists, and most men have zero training on how to handle it. Not because they're weak, but because nobody ever actually broke it down for them. So that's what this is. A no-fluff, real breakdown of what's actually happening when a girl looks at you, and more importantly, exactly what to do about it. 1. Why men freeze. The male brain, under unexpected eye contact from an attractive woman, does something almost embarrassing from a neuroscience standpoint. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires up like it just spotted a predator, not a person, a predator. Which explains why a guy can handle a work presentation in front of 50 people, but completely falls apart when a girl across the coffee shop holds his gaze for 3 seconds. This is the freeze response. It's the neglected cousin of fight and flight, and it shows up specifically when the brain can't immediately categorize what's happening. Is this a threat? An opportunity? Is she looking at him or the guy behind him? His brain starts running calculations. It was never built to run quickly. And while it's busy doing that, his face has gone completely blank. His body has stopped moving naturally, and he's now just standing there, a statue with a heartbeat. What makes it worse is testosterone's role in this. Studies show that social stress, which unexpected attraction absolutely qualifies as, can temporarily suppress testosterone-driven confidence responses. So the very hormone that's supposed to make him feel bold gets quiet exactly when he needs it loudest. Bad timing. Terrible, actually. The freeze also feeds on itself. The longer he stands there doing nothing, the more self-conscious he becomes about the fact that he's been standing there doing nothing. And now, the moment has a countdown timer attached to it, and he can feel every second ticking. His anxiety grabbed the steering wheel, and now they're both just parked in the middle of the road going nowhere. The good news? Understanding why it happens is the first step to interrupting it. The brain can be retrained to read eye contact as a social cue rather than a social emergency. But first, men need to understand what that look is even saying. Now let's talk about what these different looks actually mean. Not every look is the same, and treating them like they are is how men either miss every green light or confidently walk into a red one. Women communicate a lot through eye contact, layered, specific, intentional things, and most men are reading it like a foreign language they studied for 1 semester in high school. The glance and look away is the most misread one. A woman looks at a man. He catches it. She looks away quickly. Most men interpret this as disinterest. It's often the opposite. That quick break is a nervous response. She didn't expect to get caught, and looking away is her way of not coming across as too forward. If she does it more than once, she's basically waving a flag in slow motion. Then there's the hold. He looks back, and she doesn't immediately break it. This one isn't subtle. This is an open door. A man who looks away first in this scenario just closed it himself, and she noticed. The scan is different entirely. It's quick, top to bottom, and usually means she's assessing, not necessarily attracted, just gathering information. Men who mistake a scan for deep interest tend to approach with way too much energy, which immediately confirms she made the right call by staying neutral. And then there's the smile-look combination, which is the clearest signal in the entire catalogue, and still somehow gets ignored or overthought. A woman who looks at a man and smiles, genuinely, not politely, is doing the emotional equivalent of sending a written invitation with a bow on it. The man who responds with a head nod and then goes back to his phone deserves to be alone for exactly 15 more minutes as a lesson. Reading the look correctly matters because the response should match the signal. Misreading it in either direction, too much, too little, is where things go sideways fast. Let me tell you about the 3-second rule and I'll tell why it works and also why men still mess it up. There's a well-documented behavioral window in social psychology, roughly 3 seconds, between the moment an opportunity is recognized and the moment hesitation starts actively working against you. After 3 seconds of inaction, the brain begins generating reasons why acting is a bad idea. It doesn't do this maliciously. It does it because uncertainty is uncomfortable, and the brain's primary job is to protect, not to get a man a date. The 3-second rule, popularized in confidence and dating psychology circles, isn't about being impulsive. It's about acting before the internal critic clocks in for its shift. Because once that voice starts, what if she's not interested? What if I say something stupid? What if she's waiting for someone? It doesn't stop. It just keeps adding files to the case against doing anything. Attraction also has a timing component that most men don't account for. A woman who sends a look and receives no response within a reasonable window doesn't sit there waiting. She mentally moves on, not out of cruelty, just self-preservation. Nobody holds an open door forever. What makes men blow this window isn't lack of interest. It's the gap between intention and execution. A man can fully intend to walk over and still find himself 5 minutes later still standing in the same spot, having had an entire internal debate with no resolution. His discipline just clocked out. His overthinking took over, and the moment quietly expired while he was busy running simulations. The fix isn't to think less. It's to delay the thinking slightly. Move first. Think during, not before. Confidence in these moments isn't the absence of nerves. It's choosing motion over paralysis when both feel equally available. The men who are good at this aren't braver. They've just practiced not giving hesitation a long enough runway to take off. What to actually do, the response that works. So she looked. He caught it. The window is open. This is the part where most advice falls apart because it gets either too scripted or too vague. Just be confident is not instructions. That's a fortune cookie. So here's what actually works, broken down into something a real person can use. First, eye contact back. Not a stare, not a glance away immediately. A calm, held return of eye contact for about 2 to 3 seconds. This alone communicates more than most opening lines ever will. It says he's present, unbothered, and not intimidated by her attention. Women notice the quality of a man's eye contact before they register anything he says. It's the first filter, and most men fail it by looking away too fast or holding it so intensely she starts wondering if he's okay. Add a slight smile. Not a grin, not a performance, just a natural, relaxed acknowledgement. This shifts the energy from two strangers staring at each other to two people who are about to have a conversation. It's a small move with a disproportionately large effect on how approachable he reads. Then he moves. Not immediately, not robotically, but within that behavioral window. He walks toward her with normal posture, not puffed up, not hunched, and opens with something low pressure and situationally relevant. A comment about the environment, something genuinely observational, something that doesn't require her to perform enthusiasm to respond. Hey, I had to come say hi is honest and disarming. It doesn't pretend the eye contact didn't happen. What not to do? Hover from a distance hoping she'll make the next move. She already made a move. That's what the look was. His job now is to meet it. Also, skip the rehearsed openers. Women can smell a scripted line the way dogs smell fear. Authenticity, even slightly awkward authenticity, will always outperform a polished routine delivered by someone who's clearly not present. 5. Why most men talk themselves out of it: overthinking and the inner critic. If overthinking were a sport, a lot of men would have sponsorships by now. The internal monologue that fires up between "she looked at me" and "I should go say something" is genuinely one of the most destructive forces in a man's social life. And it operates completely under the radar because it feels like logic. That's the trick. Overthinking doesn't announce itself as fear. It shows up dressed as rationality. I should wait for a better moment. She probably has a boyfriend. I don't want to bother her. These thoughts feel responsible, even considerate. But most of the time, they're just anxiety wearing a suit, presenting a very convincing PowerPoint on why doing nothing is the smart move. Cognitive behavioral psychology has a name for this pattern. It's called catastrophizing. And it's what happens when the brain jumps from "she might not be interested" to "this will be humiliating and I will never recover" in about 4 mental steps. The actual risk in approaching a woman who made eye contact is remarkably low. The perceived risk, for a lot of men, feels like a public trial. A man can genuinely want to approach, decide to approach, start mentally preparing to approach, and still be standing in the exact same spot 10 minutes later because his inner critic filed an injunction. Every second of delay adds a new layer of self-consciousness, and by the time he talks himself back into it, he's so in his own head that even if he walks over, he's not actually present in the conversation. His body showed up. His confidence called in sick. The inner critic also feeds on past experiences. One awkward approach 3 years ago can quietly run the show for years without a man realizing it's happening. It's not weakness, it's conditioning. And conditioning, unlike confidence, can be unlearned with enough conscious interruption. Indifference without coldness. Stoicism gets misread constantly in male spaces. Men hear stoic and picture someone emotionally sealed off, unbothered to the point of being robotic, treating human connection like an inconvenience. That's not Stoicism. That's just avoidance with a philosophy label slapped on it. What Stoicism actually offers in this situation is something far more useful: the separation of what a man can control from what he can't. Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing about dating, obviously, but the principle applies cleanly. A man can control his response to the look, his decision to approach, his energy in the conversation. He cannot control whether she's interested, available, or in the mood to talk. The moment he starts trying to manage her reaction rather than his own behavior, he's already operating from anxiety, not confidence. Epictetus talked about the dichotomy of control as the foundation of inner peace. Apply that to eye contact, and it becomes remarkably practical. Go over. Say something real. Be present. After that, whatever happens is outside his jurisdiction, and that's genuinely fine. The man who approaches with zero attachment to the outcome moves completely differently from the man who needs it to go well. His voice is steadier. His body language is open. He's actually listening instead of internally grading his own performance mid-conversation. There's also a Stoic concept around voluntary discomfort, deliberately doing things that are uncomfortable to build tolerance for uncertainty. Approaching a woman after eye contact, for a man who finds it nerve-wracking, is exactly this kind of practice. Not because every interaction needs to lead somewhere, but because repetition shrinks the fear response over time. The amygdala stops treating it like a threat when the evidence keeps showing it isn't one. The men who seem naturally confident in these situations usually aren't fearless. They've just done it enough times that their nervous system stopped making it a big deal. Stoicism didn't make them cold. It made them steady. Eye contact from a woman isn't a puzzle to solve or a trap to avoid. It's an invitation, And what a man does with it says everything about where he actually is with himself. The freeze, the overthinking, the inner critic, the missed window, none of it makes a man weak. It makes him human. But staying stuck in that pattern when he now knows exactly why it happens, that's a choice. Read the look correctly. Move within the window. Return the eye contact with calm, not panic. Approach with presence, not a script. And let Stoicism handle the rest. Do what's in his control. Release what isn't. And stop turning a 3-second glance into a 5-act internal drama. If this hit close to home, good. Drop a comment below describing the last time you froze or talked yourself out of approaching someone. Be honest. Every man reading this has a story, and this is a judgment-free zone. Respond to every comment personally, because this community is built on real conversations, not just content. If this gave you something useful, share it with a man who needs to hear it, and make sure you're subscribed. New videos drop regularly, and missing them would genuinely be your loss.